Hello, my name is Grian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make skyscrapers in Minecraft. So this is a bit of a hybrid. I'm going to show you a bunch of examples and sort of the thought process behind them, and then I'm going to show you how to make a specific one and how we actually do it. So let's start with the Noob Skyscraper. This is what most people make, and by all means and account, they've done it correctly. But as you can tell, it doesn't look very good. So what we're going to go over is how to make them look nicer. So immediately on the right, you can see a way nicer version. Now this one succeeds because of its shape. You can see that it isn't completely square, and that is mainly the case for a lot of the skyscrapers that I'm going to show you. The top is textured along with the different block use in the actual skyscraper itself. There's lots of things that we're going to go over, and I don't need to cover everything on individual skyscrapers, but as you can see, there's certain things that make that one stand out. On the next one, you'll see that it also has some shape, and it's not completely square, but it also has a very nice zigzag effect. Even though it's got the same repeated layer over and over again, the detail is in the blocks themselves and how they are coloured. Around the back, we've got just a very simple stripe design. It hasn't been too detailed at the back because the purposes of this video, everything's been put to the front. Next up, we have a similar design, but with an actual squared design. However, the design details are in the patterns produced by the half slabs in this case. So if you actually remove the half slabs, you'd get a very, very dull building, much like the first one, as I said, is a gigantic mistake. But by simply adding some design traits, you can make it look a lot more patterned. And round the back, it's a very similar story. You can make these very symmetrical, especially when they're completely square. Most of them are rectangular or rectangular with a bit of shape. This one relies on its patterning in particular, but again, the whole thing is stacked one on top of the other in a repeat pattern. Now, we use World Edit to do this, and I'll go over the intricacies in a moment when we go and make our example, but as you can see, the pattern is everything in this example. Without the pattern, again, it's just a big rectangular box. But as you can see, we've got some nice balconies jutting out, and on the side, we've got a different pattern, just so that it's not completely repeated. That's one way to make your skyscraper stand out and look different, and the back is, of course, not done on this one, but that's not a big deal, because you can just replicate the front on the back, or have a different design if you want. Now, World Edit is your best friend in this, and we're going to be using it a lot. If you don't have access to World Edit, you may even want to reconsider making a skyscraper, because it's going to be incredibly repetitive. But again, not too difficult to make, just repetitive and may get a bit boring. This design here is the one we're going to be making in our example, and I will be showing you how to make this exactly, but I will be using World Edit, so do be warned. However, it is very easy to make it by hand once you get the idea behind it. And then finally is just another example of a similar design to the one that I'm going to show you. But there's lots of things that go into a skyscraper, but the main thing is the shape. You see how in these last two examples, although they have a rectangular overall shape, they actually have a lot of intricacies in the pattern and design with a good use of different blocks and textures. This is probably the most important thing, because otherwise you're going to end up with an example much like the first one. So now that we've seen some examples, let's get straight into making it. Now, we need to make the ground floor first. Now, this tends to be slightly different to the rest of the floors, which are repeated one after the other. So this one is going to look slightly different, and we end up making two layers to begin with. So as you can see, I'm just trying to lay down a nice shape which I'm going to work with. Now, this is going to be 1/4, and that's quite important because it's literally replicated round in 4 segments. So as you can see, I've just created a very small L-shaped segment. That is everything that you need to know how to build, because from this point on, all we're going to do is another layer on the top of that, which is the bit that we're going to replicate over 4 times. So this simple L-shaped segment is all that we need. I want to point out that the doorway and the windows are set back from the actual wall that is going to be the first thing that your eyes hit. So you want to draw the eyes when they hit the windows backwards. So you can see mine are a full block back, and then I've used glass panes on top of that to make it look even deeper. Then on the middle segment you can see the repeated pattern has a little bit of greenery to break up some of the textures used, and then on the side I've got a bit jutting out with another pattern. So now using World Edit, I'm now going to replicate this over, flip it, paste it until we have the complete rectangle. And then from there, we're going to World Edit and stack it up. Now, this doesn't mean that you need World Edit in order to make a skyscraper, but it is incredibly handy. If you need to know how to use World Edit, I do have a tutorial which I will link in the description. It is a complicated plugin, but the tutorial will help you with the basics, since I don't want to cover all the basics in this tutorial itself. And after you've used / stack, you can make sure that you have all of the layers that you need, and then you can start working on the top, which is going to vary a little bit from the rest of it, because this is where you want to have a little bit more of a unique top, a penthouse if you want. It's up to you how you do this. You could even put a garden on the top or a helicopter landing pad. It's entirely up to you how you do it. The beauty about doing skyscrapers are they're incredibly quick to do. I made this one in about 20 minutes using World Edit. Now in an hour you could have 5 of them done, and you could give them all different tops, and in no time you'd have a city in a few hours. Of course with World Edit. If you were doing it by hand it would take you quite a lot longer. But the theory is the same for making them. Make the first layer, stack them up, create a unique top, and then you've got your block of flats or a skyscraper, whatever you want. This one is a nice design. It was made by Blackiichan and ItzAmazing, part of the crew, and then I added my own touch as well. On the top, you might want to add a couple of vents. You could do this by adding some cobblestone wall with a slab on the top, or adding some blocks with some rails to look like a vent. But those little touches are what make it unique. It's the overall picture that you want to depict when making a skyscraper, not the individual details. They're the opposite of what I would normally consider like a house. It's all about the finer details, but on a skyscraper it's about getting a nice pattern that pleases the eye with a good amount of depth. The biggest problem that people have with skyscrapers is, again, making those first example ones of just a flat surface. So as you can see, with a bit of unique variation in the shape, the depth, and repeating the pattern upwards, you can make a really nice skyscraper. So that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please give me some suggestions of what you want to build in Minecraft. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.